Even after being a governor, you cannot be as popular as
Finally. We're ready. What if finally? Let's go. Okay, we're ready to launch. So hold on. 3 counts. Ready, begin. 3, go.
This is a text of press conference by Benue Advocacy Network in response to the media chats by Governor Hyacinth Alia on this day, 11th, 2025 of April. Gentlemen of the press, we watch with disbelief the live media chat hosted by Governor of Benue State, Hyacinth Alia, yesterday, being April 10th, 2025. During the 2-hour session, the governor embarked on a self-glorification voyage and, as usual, raised unsustainable claims without tangible evidence to support them. Governor Alia condemned all previous administrations for doing little or nothing until he assumed duty. Characteristically, the governor avoided discussing the most pressing issue that has become an existential threat to the people of Benue State. He deliberately refused to address the spate of insecurity perpetrated by the armed Fulani herdsmen, which has led to constant attacks on Benue communities, resulting to thousands being killed. He's silent on the occupation of Benue State communities by these terrorists who have decided when and where the people can move. Even when Governor Alia reluctantly refused to mention the critical issue of insecurity, which is currently affecting about 19 out of the 23 local governments in the state. He merely rationalized and defended the nomadic cattle herders by making inappropriate references to the ECOWAS protocol, claiming it provides legal protection for pastoralists to move freely in and out of every territory. As he has often done, the governor described the issue of insecurity as skirmishes. His false claims prompted an erudite son of the state, Honorable Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Professor Sebastian Horn, to issue a statement correcting the wrong impression created by Governor Hyacinth Alia's comments regarding the transhumance of livestock within ECOWAS member countries. We refer the governor to Professor Horn's patriotic article, which is out there in the public domain. Governor Alia has also claimed that he had no data on the internally displaced persons who were in different camps. This is another misleading assertion because the previous government, through the Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, in collaboration with other international organizations and civil society groups, carried out detailed documentation of those in the IDPs. It is therefore unfortunate that Governor Alia has chosen to play politics with the plight of the displaced people. It would have been interesting to hear the governor provide reasons for the abandonment of the Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranches Establishment Law of 2017, which was enacted by the previous government with the support of the Benue people. This law was very effective in tackling the herdsmen menace until the current government took office. The enforcement of the law by the immediate past administration led to the arrests, prosecution, and imprisonment of many violators and impoundment of hundreds of animals whose owners were found wanting and they were sanctioned as supposed. By the time the previous administration was leaving office, cows could no longer be seen roaming around and destroying people's farms and other properties in part of the states. The records for the successful enforcement of the law are still very much available for everybody to see. The current government has reversed and jeopardized all those measures and disbanded the state livestock guards to please the Fulanis. Another important issue the governor avoided discussing was the reported award of 68.3 billion naira for the rehabilitation of the 13-kilometer Wurukum to Air Force Base road. We watched the Benue State House of Assembly plenary session where the Director General of the State Public Procurement Commission, Dr. Comfort Adadu, clearly stated that her office was only aware of 28 billion naira being approved for the rehabilitation of the said road. The media chart presented the governor with an opportunity to clarify this controversy, but unsurprisingly, he avoided this matter. During the interview, Governor Alia again alleged without proof that his administration inherited 359 billion in salary arrears from its predecessor. He further claimed that the state was in a state of coma before he became governor. He also asserted that the previous government did not pay salaries and pensions throughout its 2 terms. The assertion by the governor that he inherited 359 billion in salary arrears is not only a fictional narrative but also a deliberate attempt to mislead the public. Interestingly, the same earlier government previously announced through the governor's chief press secretary that the previous administration left with 187.56 billion in debt, which was the exact figure contained in the handover notes presented to him by the previous government. If Governor Alia wants the public to believe this narrative, his government should publicly provide evidences that previous administration handed over 359 billion naira in debt. Governor Alia and his team are quick to discussing finances as they relate to the previous administration, but has fallen silent when the question about how he is currently managing the state's resources comes up. There has been zero accountability since Alia took over from May 29th, 2003. The previous administration inherited 72 billion naira in unpaid pensions and 7 months of salaries from its predecessor. Yet it has never been discussed about. The government immediately began to clear the backlogs, and out of the 98 months during its 8 years in office, it paid 91 months of salaries, meaning that it left only 5 months unpaid. That was a government that served the state during one of the most difficult periods in the history of our country. Remember that during this time, Nigeria faced 2 recessions in addition to the COVID-19 pandemic, which drastically reduced federal allocations near zero. By the time the previous government left office, it had reduced the salaries, pensions, and gratuity burden, which it inherited from 72 billion to 38 billion naira in pensions and gratuities. The previous government also inherited contract obligations amounting to about 150 billion, but didn't make any noise about it, unlike the present government has constantly done. It is also important to note that it was the previous government that domesticated the contributory pension scheme in the state, and it contributed over 8 billion naira to bring Benue closer to the acquired threshold for accessing funds to clear pensions arrears. Alia is currently benefiting from that visionary initiative of the previous administration. The records are there to show that before the previous administration left office, it took proactive measures to negotiate and ensure significant debt reduction reliefs for the state. Owing to that administration's dogged stand against the impunity and injustice of the Buhari government against its people, the state government was denied several entitlements which it pursued for the state, including funds from bonds, stamp duties, Shopee, signature bonus, and amongst other funds that the states legitimately deserve to benefit from. The earlier government and administration has received these funds. What they owe the people now is explanation of how they have managed these funds received through the instrumentality and the support of the immediate past administration. The earlier administration has not informed the people of Benue State that since May 2023, when President Tinubu approved the removal of fuel subsidy, Benue, like other states, has been receiving federal allocations for 4 times higher than those received by the previous government. The current government should stop sounding as if it brought some magic wands to pay salaries promptly. No state in the country today owns salaries, pensions, and gratuity. Before the earlier administration took over, 28 states in the country could not pay salaries because meager resources at their disposal did not permit them to do so, and the records are there. The reverse is the case today with the Tinubu money windfall. All other states have since cleared the arrears of salaries, pensions, and gratuity, except Benue State, which is under the leadership of Alia, who backstabs and gives names to the former administration. Since the current government came on board, it has been obsessed with the previous administration by persistently raising blatant and false allegations against its predecessor. Governor Alia has set probe panels against the previous government, so we expect his probe panels to publish their reports to support the accusation he has been making against the immediate past government. Alia has also claimed that he granted local government autonomy before federal government did. The claims that he has implemented local government autonomy is a fallacy because, as we speak, local government chairmen in the state have no access to their funds. Benue was one of the states that battled the federal government up to the Supreme Court in a bid to stop granting of financial autonomy to local governments. The previous administration had already granted autonomy to local governments in the state and never interfered with their resources. Contrary to the present situation where local governments are denied access to their funds and all their resources are controlled by the state government. The previous administration also always published its accounts for everyone to see. Under the immediate past government, for the first time in the history of Benue State, union leaders were made a part of the State Joint Allocation Committee to enable them to know firsthand what the state and local governments were receiving and how the funds were being utilized. Governor Alias similarly claimed that the judiciary in the state began to enjoy autonomy as soon as he assumed office in 2023. The governor's statements about the state judiciary is not only misleading, but it is also a glaring irony because, as we speak, judiciary staffs in Benue State have been on strike for about 5 months now. It is there for everybody to see. The fact remains that the previous government enacted legislations that granted autonomy to the state judiciary. It was the current government that reversed this decision. His claim of implementing a 75,000 naira minimum wage is also not factual because Benue State University staff and several government ministries and agencies have not seen the new minimum wage reflected in their pay slips. The state judiciary workers, for instance, are on strike because of the non-implementation of this new minimum wage. Similarly, Governor Alias claimed that his government has reticulated water in parts of Makudi and other areas of the state is another false claim. For instance, the current government has done nothing about the Greater Makudi Water Works since the efforts of the immediate past government administration to complete the project and to begin reticulation of water in some locations in the state capital. Governor Alia has also claimed that his administration has revived government hospitals, primary health care centers across the state, and we wonder which of the medical facilities has benefited from such an effort he has claimed. The Benue State University Teaching Hospital has become an edifice of political propaganda by the present administration, as no tangible improvement has occurred in the hospital since Governor Alia took over power. On a daily basis, patients are seen leaving the hospital due to poor services, including the absence of water. It is on record that the previous administration acquired state-of-the-art magnetic resonance image machine and 2 dialysis machines from Siemens. The boats were installed and equipped. The boats were installed and equipped and made them fully functional before handing over to the current government. The previous administration also established a twin theater complex and twin theater complex and wards, including a surgical ward, medical ward, gynecology ward, pediatric ward, intensive care unit, amenity ward, orthopedic ward, ophthalmology ward, and neonatal ward. And additionally to the previous administration's the previous administration established a well-equipped center for emerging infectious diseases and tropical diseases. Benue was also amongst the states that filed a lawsuit seeking the scrapping of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, when it became apparent that such states would lose that case. Governor Alia clearly and cleverly declared that the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice filed the suit without his approval. He feigned the suspension of the Attorney General for a few days and then asked him to resume his duty post. In the same manner, the governor wrote a letter to the State House of Assembly asking it to remove the Chief Judge of the state, Justice Maurice Ikpambese. But then he turned around to deny any knowledge of such a move he has made. This has been the stock in trade of this present administration, led by a priest who should lead by impeccable example. Our demands as a people. 1. We challenge Governor Alia to publish the monthly allocations he has received from the Federation account since May 2023 upon assumption of office. 2. We demand accountability detailing on how Benue's funds are being expended by the governor. 3. We challenge the governor to disclose the state's wage bill, especially after claiming that he has only 2 years in Makudi and Boku. The governor should also publish details of contracts he has awarded to prove that such contracts were awarded in gross violation of due process. We also demand that Governor Alia should also publish the internally generated revenue of the state from May 2023 to date. Also, the governor should inform the people of Benue State what his government knows about the sustained attacks on our communities and his plans to end the killings. The governor should also provide an explanation for the additional camps and tents his administration is constructing for the internally displaced persons, instead of fulfilling his promise to return them to their ancestral homes within the first 100 days in office, which he categorically stated that he had the algorithms to do. Governor Alia should also equally explain to the people of Benue State the whereabouts of the 100 vehicles displayed on the day of launch of a new security outfit known as Anyamyo in December last year. Where are the vehicles, given that no one seems to have seen or cited any of these vehicles in any part of the state, especially in the face of intensified attacks on our communities? Governor Alia should explain what has happened to the open grazing prohibition and ranching establishment law and why headers are taking over more communities in the state without any action from his government to stop them. We also demand that we will not be overly concerned with Governor Alia's boast that he must serve 2 terms of 8 years in office, as if he were elected for a term of 8 years. Such boasts have become synonymous with his government. The answer lies in the hands of God through the voters of Benue. Finally, we wish to make it abundantly clear that we will no longer sit and watch the Alia administration launch sustained media attacks on the previous government. Governor Alia has already spent 2 years in office with only two remaining, yet he is still blaming the previous administration as if it's part of his stewardship in office. He should instead tell Benue people what he has accomplished in the last 2 years. The governor should remember that he is now a politician and no longer on the pulpit. Every bit of falsehood, we repeat, every bit of falsehood he utters against the previous administration will be met with vehement and equal response. This government should also know that we are in a democracy and not a military dictatorship where freedom of expression is prohibited. The people are closely watching all their utterances and actions and will respond at the appropriate time. Thank you very much.